So are you considering bike travel and really not sure where to start? We're going to tell you today. We got our guest is Teri Maloughney. And Teri, so if someone out there in Florida is considering bike travel, where would you send them to get started? They're just not sure what to expect or what steps to begin to take. What would you do?
Well, I'd suggest they go to our website at adventurecycling.org. There they can find how to plan for a bike trip, maps for your bike trip, what to expect on your bike trip, how to train for a bike trip, and just to remember that it's just one pedal at a time, and as many pedal strokes as you take is how far you'll go.
Very interesting. So I know a lot of people, I've interviewed people who have done bike travel, like from Florida to California, Florida to Oregon and back, and many people have spent months sort of planning out their route. But that's not really necessary because you have access on your website to a lot more detail than that kind of relieves us of the responsibility of planning our own way. Tell us about that.
Indeed, we do. We have our Adventure Cycling Route Network, which is over 42,000 miles of planned, researched routes that will get you from point A to B. And along the way, it shows you services, so you can find bike shops, grocery stores, campgrounds, motels, all those things that you're going to need as you travel by bike are on our maps.
So, and you are the marketing director, actually, tell us who you are. What's your official position?
My title is Community Marketing Director for Adventure Cycling Association.
Right, I had the marketing in there, but not the community.
Yeah.
And how long has the Adventure Cycling Association been around?
You know, we were originally established in 1974, and we led our first Transamerica Trail ride in 1976 to celebrate the bicentennial of the United States of America. And at that time, we were called Bike Centennial. Now we're Adventure Cycling.
Okay. So, and when you were talking about trail maps or maps that you guys have already developed, this isn't just something someone dreamed up. Your trails actually have 42 years of experience behind them. Is that correct?
We do. And that's, you know, a nice thing about using our routes is that people are accustomed to seeing cyclists on these roads. And that's an advantage. You know, the more people are aware of you, the better off you are as a cyclist.
And what do you use to sort of try to get people on the lowest volume roads, the safest routes? What are your resources in addition to, you know, the experience of people that have continued to ride your routes? What do you basically?
Well, we actually send human beings out on the routes to do route research, which is very unusual. In addition to, of course, using GPX and all the technology that's available, we do have human beings who ride these routes beforehand, take notes, bring them back to our cartographers, and then our cartographers create these beautiful maps.
Okay. I interviewed Tracy Sepsic several months ago, who did a cross-the-country ride supporting veterans, and I think Adventure Cycling was involved in her trip as well, weren't they?
We were. Tracy reached out to us, and we donated the maps for her trip, and she's an amazing human being. She's a veteran, and she's just fabulous.
So, and you know, Tracy's ride was largely unsupported on very basic equipment with very basic skills. Tracy's not a big mileage rider, so that's a very fascinating program if you want to check that out on our Facebook as well.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people are concerned about, you know, they don't know what to expect when they get on the road. What's it like being out on the road, traveling that way? It's a long way to go. What kind of resources do you have in the website that's going to help them sort of understand what to expect?
You know, we have some great planning tools on the website, and there are things that talk about, you know, navigation, camping, and actually one of the tools is about hardships, because not every day is easy, and, you know, your bottom gets sore and what you're going to do about those kind of things. And we try to cover all that, how to train so that you're really ready to go. But we also know there's a lot of people out there who are not going to train at all, and that's okay. You know, we have people who have never ridden more than 15 miles, and if they do that first 15 miles, then the next day they'll do another. And it's amazing how you can build up mileage as you begin with just a few pedal strokes.
It's very interesting to me. You know, the cycling is a sport that, in essence, all you need is a bicycle to get you from point A to point B. We who do this recreationally spend a lot of energy and money on every tech gadget, the latest frame design, and all of those things. What would you say to people that are saying, I don't have the money for an $8,000 bike. I don't have the money. I'm not inclined to get that stuff. What do you say to someone in thinking that way?
We really believe that we don't tell you what kind of bike to ride. We just want you to ride a bike. And, you can pick bikes up in such a variety of places. There are police auctions, there are, pawn shops, people on Craigslist. And the thing is you don't have to have a $3,000 to $5,000 bike. You can have what you have in your garage. Take what you already have that you probably had hanging up there for quite a while. And on our website, we tell you, these are the things you need to think about. Make sure the chain has been lubricated. And, you may want to take it into a bike shop and have a basic, maintenance moment for the bike. But you can ride anything. And, the most important thing is what's going to work for you and what you have available to you. But you don't have to get crazy stuff. One of the things on our site shows you how you can make panniers, which are saddlebags, out of kitty cat litter boxes. So, you do not have to go high end. You can really use, common household things that you have available to you right now.
As a matter of fact, the young woman that I interviewed who followed the butterflies, the monarchs from Mexico to Canada, that's exactly what she used for panniers was kitty box.
Kitty litter boxes, yep.
Yeah.
She has an amazing story too. Her story was actually on the cover of our magazine, Adventure Cyclist. We did a big feature on her story, and it's spectacular.
So you've mentioned something. So we've been talking about your website, and just I wanted one more thought before we leave that. Okay. I really would urge people who are giving thought to taking off and creating an adventure on bicycle, listen to what Teri is saying, because it isn't necessary to get all involved and bogged down with the latest gadgets and equipment. When people get on the road, you quickly find out there are many people doing amazing things with the most basic equipment and supplies. The beauty of it is the adventure. You don't get hung up on having the best or, all teched out with the equipment. Get past that and just get started.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, take advantage of where you live. And if there's bike paths in your neighborhood, start riding there, start riding around the block. Just, get out there and give it a try.
So I know that, what are the real goals of the Adventure Cycling Association? What are you trying to do, your dream, your goal for cycling?
Our vision is to get people connected by bicycling to bicycle travel. We want to inspire and empower them and give them the opportunity to find the transformation that happens to you as an individual as you achieve goals, or as you just find out how strong you personally are. That is our goal, is to have you have this opportunity to find out that bicycling was as fun as it was when you were a kid.
Yeah, I think most people remember their first bike. In our practice, we give bikes away, multiple bikes away every year. At Christmas, we usually give 6 or 7 bikes to kids. And I think every child remembers that first bike. It's that feeling that you have when you have the freedom to ride a bicycle. Yep. And, we really shouldn't get past that, because riding is really that simple. That's the euphoria we should all enjoy every time we go out.
Yeah, it is. And that, just that feeling of independence is phenomenal when you're on a bike. You feel everything. And, there's pros and cons to all that too. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cold. But, it is you taking care of yourself at that moment. And that's, empowering.
Well, yeah, you have to be mindful of you're setting off and going out into the world. You have to be mindful of you don't want to freeze to death, and you don't want to, you want to have hyperthermia or dehydration. So there's basic things you need to be concerned about. But don't get overly concerned about having just the right stuff.
No. Wear a jacket, sunscreen, just, basic life necessities, bring water.
So where is the Adventure Cycling Association headquartered?
We're headquartered here in Missoula, Montana, where we've got about 2.5 feet of snow that has fallen in the last couple of days. And it's I just looked outside and it's still snowing. So I'm envious of all you Floridians right now.
Yeah, I think it's 80 today here. So.
Oh,
I
Hmm, I
say that,
don't,
but I love. I'll be in Salt Lake City on Friday next week with my son and his family for the weekend. So I enjoy seeing what you enjoy as well out there.
yep.
Just not a great
Look at
time
all
to
the
be
snow.
running out there. Yeah.
No, I mean, we have probably a half dozen staff who are still riding to work on their bikes, commuting every day. So,
So talk about. I want to give you a chance to talk about the magazine. So I've been a member of the Adventure Cycling Association for a number of years. My participation largely is enjoying their magazine. I enjoy it's just a quality magazine. As a matter of fact, I think this month you have an article about the fat tire riding. Uh,
uh, probably it's that time of year. The magazine really is a fabulous vehicle to inspire people. It tells other people's stories, gives great narrative. It also has some gorgeous photographs in
okay.
it. We do tech coverage. The last month was our bike buyer's guide, where although we don't tell you what kind of bike to buy, we give you an opportunity to learn what's out there.
Right.
And, those are just some of the things we cover. Every month we have in the very back of the magazine that people love, it's called Open Road Gallery. And these are the people who have come to Missoula, Montana on their bikes to visit us. And so we take their photograph with their bike, it's a black and white photograph, and then we write up what their story is. And people's stories are amazing, why they have chosen to do this. And also, we have several routes that come through Missoula, Montana, but people get to Missoula and they're so excited because this is where the headquarters is, and they have this real opportunity to experience what we do every day.
Yeah. So from my perspective, being an armchair rider in terms of touring, since I'm still working, I love to get the magazine because you always have the ads in the back for the touring companies. There's a lot of,
Mhm.
and they're talking about all these wonderful places to go, both here and across the country, and across the world, really. But you always have good stories about the adventures that people have taken. Some are incredible around the world, not just adventure travel in the United States.
Indeed.
But I really highly recommend the magazine. I think I've never picked up a copy that I didn't thoroughly look forward to sitting down and going through. It's one of
That's
the
great
first
to
things
hear.
I do when it comes.
Yeah, it is. We're very proud of the magazine, and it is, supported by our members. And we also have the opportunity when you go online to our site to check out articles and things that will appear in the magazine.
So let me just do a little programming note. We're talking about adventure travel, and that's not exactly what we do in terms of our practice. And we're here in Florida. I'm an active attorney. Have a passion for cycling. I'm a cyclist myself for many years. We represent cyclists all across the state. I always tell people you're more apt to get into a car crash. I mean, I think the statistics are there's more of those than we have of cycling, thankfully.
Absolutely.
So people many times think of me as obviously think of me as a cycling lawyer, as the Florida bike guy. But if you have a need for a lawyer for anything related to an injury, don't hesitate to call me, even if it's outside of the cycling world. We're only a phone call away, and we're accustomed to representing people across the state. So Teri, how many members do you have in the Adventure Cycling Association?
We have over 52,000 members. As I said, we've been around since the first ride in 1976, and we continue to inspire people to travel by bike, and that's why they join, and that's why they continue to participate.
Well, here in Florida, the demographics are we have a broad range of people who are recreational cyclists, but a lot of them are concentrated in the retirement age, the baby boomer retirement age group. How does that reflect in the demographics of your association?
It's very similar. I think it has to do with people have a passion, they have time. And I think time is something that is hard for people, trying to find time to do things. And, one of the points that we try to make is that you don't have to go overnight, or you don't have to go, cross country, but you can go overnight. And so going overnight is a great way for people of any age to try bike travel.
So talk about, you have two things that you have coming up that are encouraging people to get out and use their bike for some travel. Talk about the overnight adventure. I think that's in late May, early June. What's that
It
about?
is. It is. It's the first weekend of June, the first Saturday of June. It's called Bike Travel Weekend, and it gives people an opportunity to get together with their friends and ride wherever they would like to. They can leave their home and go to their mom's house, or go, to a nearby B&B or a hostel, or go camping. But we just encourage people to, take that first step of giving an overnight a try. And on our site, we have lots of information about how to do that. We have ambassadors that can help you all over the United States and in many foreign countries. And this is just an opportunity for you to have some support. We give you great support on how to, and just get out there and give it a try. So it's Bike Travel Weekend. It's June 1st and 2nd this year. And then the other program we have comes up later in the season, at the end of September, the last Saturday in September, and it is called Bike Your Park Day. And this is really encouraging people to get on their bike and to go to national parks, local parks, or public lands. These are things that we all own as U.S. citizens. And just, if this isn't even going overnight, but this is just take a look at what's out your back door and do it by bike.
That's a great ideas. The Bureau of Land Management is probably one of the largest landowners in the country. They have a lot of land, of course, out west, but I think we'd be surprised how much land is available. Florida has gotten to be, when I was a kid, we had a lot of open spaces, a lot of cattle ranches and farms, and those are sprouting houses, it seems, these days. But there's still plenty of wild places to ride and undeveloped places, even here in Florida, to ride.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. There's all sorts of national monuments and things, and we have been working with the Park Service. Some national parks are going to have car-free days that day so that people can come in and ride without cars, which being here in Montana, we're very close to Glacier National Park, and there's a certain couple weeks in late May and early June before they open up the Going to the Sun Road, where we get to ride without any traffic at all, and it is it's an amazing experience.
That'd be cool. So tell me more about that. How does that work?
As I said, late May, early June, they have not finished sometimes plowing. It's called the Going to the Sun Road in Glacier National Park. And they have either not quite finished plowing or they don't have all the guardrails in. And it's open to people to come in and either hike or ride their bikes. And there's just no traffic at all except other cyclists. And I have had mountain goats jump up in front of me, and it's just spectacular. It's an amazing thing. It's
how far is that road?
One of those bucket list things.
How far is that road?
You ride up, and from where we start, it is about 16 miles. And the first 8 are pretty reasonable, and then you just keep wondering what's happening in that next 8 because you just keep climbing and climbing. But every turn brings about an amazing picture of glaciers and waterfalls, and it's just truly exciting.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So one of the things we were talking about when we spoke yesterday, preparing for this, is what do you offer? Like when somebody comes to your headquarters, I know that there's what are the trails that sort of converge there, and what do you see when you're there? What do they do?
You get to come to the world headquarters of adventure cycling, and we have over 1,100 visitors each summer. And every day, one of the staff members is a greeter. That is their job. That day is to just hang out with the cyclists that come in. We give them cold ice cream and soda or drinks. We provide maps of the local areas, suggestions where they can stay, and we weigh their bike for them, and we take photos, and then their photos are placed on the board in our front office. And it's really fun because we have people who are coming from both east and west on maybe the Trans Am Trail or our Lewis and Clark Trail or our Great Parks North Trail, and they will have passed each other. And so they get to Missoula and they look on the board and they're like, oh, there's so-and-so who, we rode with for a few days, or we ran into that person on the road. And, it's a lovely connectivity thing. And Also people share their stories, why they're riding their bikes and doing the things that they're doing. And it gives staff a real opportunity to, live vicariously in some degrees, because, not all of us get to take a huge amount of time off and do cross country. So it's really cool when we have these people come in and they share their stories with us.
So does somebody sort of stand out in your mind? I'm sure you have an opportunity to interact with a lot of unusual people that are riding some cross country, maybe not, maybe they're riding regionally, but some of the more colorful people that have come through that stick to your mind. Do you have any things you want to share with us?
Sure. We've had people who have carried spouse's ashes across country because that person was not able to go on the ride with them. We have
that would be someone whose bucket list was to do it, but never got it done. So the one spouse does it for them.
And somebody stepped up and did it for them. We have a life member by the name of Danny who did the original Trans Am ride when he was a teenager in 1976, who has come through 4 times on the Trans Am. And so it's amazing to see him age and not age. He's
not age.
An amazing person. We get families who are understanding, particularly with teenagers, that you don't have your teenagers around forever, and that this is a really big family moment to, do some bonding. We have people with little kids who will come in. You have some of the coolest things are, people whose parents in particular have done the Trans Am Trail or something, and then they are doing it themselves. So there's this historical point where it becomes a family, objective that everybody gets to do this. Cool. And so, we just see all sorts of people. We also get a lot of foreign travelers who are very excited about riding through the U.S. And, it also gives us an opportunity to play host to people, and show them the beauty of Montana and, how kind and friendly life is in America.
That's amazing. I just love that. So we started off the program with like someone who's considering bike travel but doesn't know where to start. And we've talked about a lot of options if you're actually going to start traveling more long distance and you have the weekends coming up. But what about someone who maybe would like a taste of bike travel, but they want to do maybe a supported ride? What does adventure cycling offer to them, both supported and unsupported tours?
We also run over 100 supported tours, and we do everything from family fun vacations, as we call them, which are 1-week events with an adult and children who are fully supported. All they have to do is ride their bike, and then they get into camp, set up tents. We have caterers. There's lots of things for families to do. We also have those type of tours for adults only. We have end-to-end tours where you carry your gear, but you stay in a hotel and eat in restaurants. And then we have our traditional self-contained tours where you carry your gear and then you are with a group and the group does camping and cooking. And so those are kind of our 3 basic types of tours: fully supported, end-to-end, and then self-contained.
So if somebody didn't want to just go navigate the website, but they just wanted to call and get information, do you guide them through all of that through your headquarters as well?
Absolutely. We have an 800 number, and we have staff, particularly if you have a question about navigation, you'd be able to talk to somebody in our routes and mapping department. We have staff who have done many of the rides. So if you have particular questions about a particular route, they can tell you what it was like with their experience. If you want to go on an organized tour, we have tour staff who are more than willing to help you find your correct adventure.
I think that anyone who shares a love of cycling is aware of the transformative power of bicycling. Sort of give us your view of how adventure cycling fits into that transformation in people's lives.
Well, we really believe you have the power, and that, bicycling gives you the opportunity to, sometimes you have to reach pretty deep inside. Sometimes the hills are steep, the days are long, but you get done with a ride. And, for some people that's 15 miles, for other people it could be 100 miles a day, but you get done and you have taken care of it yourself. you are self-driven. You have a lot of time to think too. So there's a lot of self-revelation and actualization that goes on too, is that, it gives you an opportunity to, look at the world around you, meet new people, and also to realize, we're very lucky, in my opinion, to live in the States. And as you're following these back roads and going into smaller communities, people are really interested in what you're doing and are very, very kind and willing to help. And I think that gives us all this opportunity to find out more about ourselves.
Yeah, invariably, the people that we've interviewed on our program who have done cross-country riding, they all talk about, we get so embroiled in the Democrat, Republican thing. You have all the news is coming out of Washington, and that sort of disappears when you get out there on the road and you just deal with real people who are concerned with all of that.
Yeah. I mean, we all have basic needs. We need water, we need shelter, we need food. And when you're out on the road, those are your main concerns. And it's amazing how often people are willing to help you with that. If you look thirsty, people will offer, sometimes if you're coming up a mountain, there are definitely stories of people getting up the top of the mountain and there's somebody who's in a car that passed them who hands them a cold drink,
Right.
or a snack or something. And it's because, in my opinion, people truly are kind. So you get to see a lot more of that when you're bike traveling.
Everybody talks about the beauty, the wonder, the self-satisfaction of having done something that you set out to accomplish, even overcoming difficulties. But they always talk about the goodness of people, and how reaffirming that travel has been to them, and the fact that the world is basically a lot nicer than it sounds on the TV.
Indeed. And, we particularly hear that from our foreign visitors, because they are coming from a place, and, coming to the US is exciting, and then to actually meet real people and not what you see on TV, and to have people offer help. And it's an amazing thing. And they're very excited and really feel like they've come away learning more about the US than they could ever do in a vehicle. By traveling by bike, they really get to put themselves out there, and they enjoy it.
Well, Teri, this has been a great conversation, and I appreciate you taking the time out in the 2 feet of snow out there to talk to us today.
Thank you.
I would encourage Katie's running a trailer there to go to adventurecycling.org. Join the association, check out their website. They've got a tremendous number of resources. I think I will personally tell you, you'll enjoy the magazine. It's certainly worth the membership fee. Do you have anything to say before we sign off?
No, we just love to have you join the community. And, you don't necessarily have to join the organization, but check out the resources, and also look what's available to you locally through your local bike shop or club, because they are, the starting point for a lot of help.
Thank you so much, Teri. We appreciate your time today. Good luck to you guys out there. It'll be warm sooner or later.
I hope so.
All right. We'll see you out there. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye now.
Bye-bye, everybody.